And welcome back for Chapter 4 of The Littles Go to School. It was so great seeing everyone in our Zoom party yesterday. I'm glad everyone's doing really well. For the few of you who couldn't make it, hopefully we'll see you at the next one. So, The Littles Go to School. So far we've learned that Tom and Lucy have some assignments that they're supposed to be working on, and that their teacher, Miss Gog, is going to be coming to visit. Lucy, in our last chapter, wrote a letter to the author of the book that she had written her book report about. And you guys have been writing some letters to the author of The Littles, John Peterson. And you guys have had some really great things to say. So nice job with that. We have another guest reader today. And I sort of told you guys yesterday in our Zoom party that this guest reader really went above and beyond for his page. He has props, he's outside, and he's on the roof of his house. What can I tell you about him ahead of time? Let's see. I'm pretty sure he's a robot because he's looked the exact same for over 20 years since I had him as a teacher when I went to Dartmouth Middle School. He is the hockey coach. And he is someone that you guys see just about every single day when we're in school during PACE. Who could it be? Oh, and he was also in our Zoom party yesterday. I'm sure you guys know who it is. So let's get started on Chapter 4. The day finally came for Miss Beta Gog to visit the Littles. The whole family was on the roof of the Big's house waiting to greet her. They were watching the sky, looking for Cousin Dinky's glider. Cousin Dinky Little and his wife Della didn't live with the Littles, but they often visited them. They carried the mail back and forth among the tiny families. The two glider pilots loved to fly up and down the big valley having adventures. One of their regular jobs was to fly Miss Gog from house to house so that she could visit the tiny children. Mr. Little pointed to a small flag hanging from the TV antenna. According to the flag, the wind is blowing from the northeast, he said. They'll probably come from there. Tom and Lucy had climbed up on top of the chimney to see better. There she is, yelled Lucy. Everyone looked up. They saw the glider speeding toward the roof. It was coming in high. A gust of wind carried it past the house. Turn around, Tom yelled. As if on Tom's command, the glider banked and turned in the sky. It drifted down toward the roof. As it got near, two parachutes opened up. They acted like brakes, slowing the glider down. All right, here's Mr. Capello from his roof.
Hi guys, my turn to read The Littles, coming to you from the roof of my house. Please don't try this at home. Here we go. A fishhook tied to a piece of twine fell from the glider. As the glider landed on the roof, the fishhook caught on a shingle. The twine pulled taut, and the glider came to a stop. In a few moments, Cousin Dinky, Della, and Miss Beta Gog were out of the cockpit saying hello to the Littles. Sorry about that landing, said Cousin Dinky. I was busy explaining the controls to Miss Gog, and we flew right on by. Della stood next to Miss Gog. Dinky is trying to talk Miss Gog into learning how to fly, she said. Miss Gog shook hands with Tom and Lucy. That's my part. Stay safe, stay healthy. See you guys soon.
Thank you, Mr. Capello. It is going to be very hard for our future guest readers to top that one. Thomas, how are you, she said. And Lucy, you look splendid. Did both of you watch the landing closely? I did, Tom said. I think I did, said Lucy. Then tell me, said Miss Gog. What did your cousin do to turn the glider around after we flew past the roof? He banked it to the right, said Tom. And how did he do that, Thomas? Asked Miss Gog. He pushed the stick to the right, said Tom. Of course, said Miss Gog. But what does that do exactly? It raises the right aileron and lowers the left aileron, Tom went on. And what does that do? Miss Gog asked. I'm not sure, said Tom. Think about it, Thomas, said Miss Gog, and tell me later. Cousin Dinky put his arm around Mrs. Little. I'm starved, Auntie, he said. Is it too early to ask you what wonderful things Mrs. Big is serving for dinner this evening? Later, after dinner, Tom and Lucy had their lesson with Miss Gog. "Lucy," she said, "I've never read your favorite book, We Lived with Giants, but your report was so interesting it made me want to." Lucy smiled. "It was one of Henry's books," she said, "so he helped me, I guess. And Tom helped a lot, especially with the letter to the author, Mrs. Rice." "I'm looking forward to her answer," Miss Gogg said. "I hope you will share what she says with the other students when you come to school this year." When Lucy heard the word school, she stopped smiling and her head drooped. Tom tried to change the subject. He said, "Miss Gogg, would you like to see the Biggs animals? I have nothing to do right now. I'll show them to you." "What animals do the Biggs have?" Miss Gogg asked. "A cat, a bird, 3 gerbils, and 6 chickens," said Tom. "Thomas, I have a thought," said Miss Gogg. "You wanted a science report idea. Why don't you and Lucy work together on one about the Biggs animals? It could be the last school report of the year for both of you." "I'd like that," said Lucy. She was smiling again. So, the Biggs house sounds like Jonathan's farm. They've got a lot of animals. So, in this chapter, we learned that Lucy is still pretty nervous about having to go to visit Henry Biggs' school for a week. So what I want you guys to think about is a time when you were going to be put into a brand new situation. You weren't really sure what to expect. And I want you guys to write about how you felt and what sort of things you did to work through those feelings. So I'll give you an example for myself. Learning that we aren't going to be in school together for a while now made me pretty nervous. You know, I have never taught students using the internet and having to talk to you guys through YouTube and through video conferences and all that. So this is a totally new experience for me. So it's made me feel pretty nervous. But the way that I've worked through it is to just try my best. We've been using Google Classroom forever now, so I have a lot of experience with that. So being able to push out assignments to you guys was easy, but not being able to see you guys is what has made it really difficult. So, you know, we tried our first Zoom party yesterday and that went really well. So that helped to make me feel a little better, knowing that I got to see you guys and that all of you guys are doing really well. So those are sort of things that I've done to work through this new situation that's made me kind of nervous. So think about new situations that you guys have been put into, how it's made you feel, and what you've done to work through it. Again, I want to thank Mr. Capello for risking his life by climbing on top of the roof of his house. And I will see you guys next week for Chapter 5. Have a great weekend.